Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about a truly explosive development in the Russia-Ukraine war, one that could shift the balance on the battlefield and even in the Kremlin. Putin's lifeline has been destroyed. Yes, the Crimean Bridge, a vital artery connecting Russia to occupied Crimea, is once again in flames. This is not just another strike. This is a direct hit on one of the most heavily protected and symbolically powerful infrastructures in the entire conflict, and the world is watching closely as the consequences unfold. The Crimean Bridge, also known as the Kerch Strait Bridge, has been a key strategic and symbolic target since the early days of the war. Built after Russia annexed Crimea in 2014, the bridge stretches nearly 19 kilometers and serves as the only direct land route from Russia to Crimea. It's not just a road and railway, it's a lifeline for transporting troops, weapons, fuel, and supplies into southern Ukraine and the occupied territories. More than that, it's a symbol of Russian control, pride, and Putin's personal legacy. When it burns, it sends a powerful message to Moscow. Reports began flooding in during the early morning hours, images and videos of massive flames engulfing a section of the bridge. Thick black smoke rising high into the sky and traffic at a complete standstill. Emergency services rushed to the scene, but by then the damage had been done. One span of the bridge appears to have collapsed or been rendered completely unusable. Russian officials initially tried to downplay the incident, referring to it as a technical mishap or incident, but within hours it became clear that this was no accident. This was a deliberate, targeted strike. While Ukraine has not officially confirmed responsibility, sources inside the Ukrainian defense community have hinted that the attack was carried out using unmanned sea drones, a technology Ukraine has been developing and deploying with increasing success. These drones are small, fast, and capable of carrying high explosives. They can travel long distances undetected and strike with surgical precision. If confirmed, this would once again show Ukraine's growing capability to hit high-value targets far behind enemy lines. This is not the first time the Crimean Bridge has been hit. In October 2022, Ukraine shocked the world with a massive explosion that damaged part of the bridge and disrupted Russian logistics for weeks. At that time, Russia responded with massive missile strikes across Ukrainian cities. Now, a year later, history seems to be repeating itself. Except this time, the damage appears even more severe, and Russia is already stretched thin across multiple fronts. The timing of this strike is critical. With winter approaching, logistics become even more important in military planning. Destroying or disabling the Crimean Bridge forces Russia to reroute all supplies through the already congested and vulnerable land corridor in southern Ukraine. It delays reinforcements, weakens supply lines, and undermines morale among Russian troops. For Ukraine, this is not just a tactical win. It's a strategic masterstroke. Inside Russia, the political fallout is already visible. Russian state media, which usually avoids covering bad news, was forced to report on the incident due to the scale of the damage and the videos circulating on social media. Putin's critics are using this moment to question how such a critical asset could be hit again despite heavy fortifications, surveillance, and naval patrols. There's growing frustration, especially among Russian hardliners, who are calling for stronger retaliation and blaming the military leadership for repeated failures. Internationally, this event is adding new pressure to an already tense geopolitical environment. NATO countries have reiterated their support for Ukraine's right to defend its territory and disrupt Russian military capabilities. While Western governments stop short of encouraging attacks on Russian infrastructure, they recognize the importance of targeting military logistics. And the Crimean Bridge, no matter how symbolic, is also a legitimate military target, as long as it's being used to supply occupying forces. What makes this moment even more important is the psychological effect. For Putin, the bridge was more than infrastructure. It was a monument to his success, a physical manifestation of Russia's grip on Crimea. Watching it go up in flames, not once but now twice, sends a clear message to both Russians and Ukrainians that Russian control is not absolute, and that even the most fortified targets can be reached. The destruction of the bridge also raises questions about what comes next. Will Russia escalate its attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure again, as it did after the first bridge attack? Will Ukraine continue its campaign of striking deep into Russian-held territory? The potential for escalation is real, and it's something the world needs to watch closely. But one thing is certain: Ukraine has demonstrated once again that it is capable, determined, and not afraid to strike at the heart of Russia's war machine. As of now, Russia has begun emergency repairs, but analysts say it could take weeks or even months to fully restore the damaged sections. In the meantime, military supply chains are disrupted, and civilian traffic between Russia and Crimea is heavily restricted. This only adds to the growing sense of isolation in occupied Crimea and sends a powerful signal to the local population that Ukraine has not forgotten or given up on reclaiming its territory. For Ukraine, this is a major morale booster. It shows not only military capability but also strategic intelligence and timing. It tells the world that Ukraine is not just defending itself, it's taking the initiative, striking critical targets, and challenging the idea that Russia is untouchable. That kind of confidence and momentum can have ripple effects across the battlefield. So to sum it all up, the Crimean Bridge, Putin's lifeline, is once again in flames. This strike goes beyond infrastructure. It's about symbolism, strategy, and sending a message. Russia is in shock and the world is watching. We'll be keeping a close eye on what happens next, especially in terms of Russia's potential response and Ukraine's next moves. Thanks for staying with us through this important update. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We'll continue to bring you timely analysis and breaking news from the front lines. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think this means for the future of the war? We'll see you in the next one. Stay safe and stay informed.